few more things.
So we'll get that next month, I guess.
All right, it's 4:30 p.m., so we'll call to order the City of Bella Vista Board of Zoning Adjustments. Call the roll, please.
Ellis.
Here.
Farner.
Here.
Weston. Here. Sudbury.
Here.
Portillo.
Here.
Dool. Lloyd.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. First on our agenda is the meeting minutes from January the 13th.
Make a motion to be approved as submitted.
Got a motion from Farner,
Second.
second from Lloyd. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, vote approved. We have nothing under unfinished business. We have one item of new business, zoning variance 2025-56948, a variance request of the R3 and P1 building setbacks to allow reconstruction of a townhome at 7 Britton Circle. Planner LaRue.
Good evening, Commissioners. Yes, so the property we're looking at this evening is located in the north central area of Bella Vista city limits near Town Center. It's located on parcel 163438-3. The zoning code sections we're looking at are sections 10971B2, which requires a minimum setback of 50 feet from all property lines in the P1 zone. We're also looking at zoning code section 10977B3, which requires a minimum front and rear setback of 20 feet and a 15-foot side setback in the R3 zone. The applicant is requesting these variances to reconstruct a townhome that had previously burned down before the city had been established. The townhome, the neighboring townhome was then cleaned up to try and secure the site. At present, the property owner is proposing to rebuild the townhome on the R3 platted lot. The proposal includes reutilizing the existing foundation and keeping the same footprint. The proposal also includes a 16-foot, 8-inch elevated footbridge from the parking area to the front door. This is what is similar to what had previously existed at that location. And this would be the variance for the P1 zone, the footbridge. Per the master street plan, the parcel is located along a non-classified residential street, and surrounding land uses include the R3 residential neighborhood district. Considering the unique planning of townhome lots in Bella Vista prior to the city's establishment and its prospective development, staff finds the proposal meets the intent of the zoning ordinance, thus allowing for the townhome to be rebuilt in the R3 district. The plat does not meet current subdivision standards, nor does it meet the R3 lot requirements. So this proposes the hardship in the R3 district to be met. There was no public comment at the time of the report. Staff did publish a legal ad notifying the public in the Weekly Vista on Wednesday, January 22nd, and a sign was posted to the property on January 31st. Staff is recommending approval to reconstruct the townhome on the analysis above.
Any questions for staff? All right, is the applicant present? If you would come up to the podium, state your name and address, and we'll give you up to 15 minutes to address the commission, but you don't have to take it if you don't want to.
Tim Duffy, working for Burris Architecture, and my address is, my address?
Just your business address. Dave Burris Architecture is fine, good enough.
I live at 23 Kenilworth Drive, Bella Vista. The project, like I said, we're requesting a waiver from a site that had the townhome burned down, and the slab is still there. We plan on going back up, as you can see on the plan, in the same location on the same footprint. We will end up having a 2-hour rated separation according to this International Residential Code, also known as the Arkansas Fire Code Volume 3.
Any questions for the applicant? If you would, go ahead and take a seat for just a minute. We're going to conduct our public hearing, and then we'll call you back up to the podium. All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. If anybody in the public would like to address the commission concerning this item, we'll give you up to 5 minutes to speak, and if you could state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Sir, if you come back up to the podium real quick. Is there anything you would like to add to your previous statements?
Well, the biggest thing is that it restores the integrity of the neighborhood. Since it's burned down, there's still parts of it left, to include the slab. So then it restores the integrity of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? If not, can I get a motion to approve variance 2025-56948?
So moved.
Got a motion from Portillo,
Second.
second from Farner. Call the roll, please.
Portillo?
Yes.
Dool? Yes. Lloyd?
Yes.
Plesson?
Yes.
Sedberry?
Yes.
Farner?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes, your variance is approved, and staff will get with you on next steps, sir. Thank you. All right, with that, our new business is complete. We have nothing under open discussion at this time. All right, nothing under open discussion. Our planning commission meeting will start immediately after this meeting. We're adjourned. All righty, let's call to order the City of Bella Vista Planning Commission meeting. If you would go ahead and call the roll, please.
Ellis?
Here.
Farner?
Here.
Plesson?
Here.
Sedberry?
Here.
Portillo?
Here.
Dool? Here. Lloyd?
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum. Our next on our agenda is our meeting minutes from January 13th.
I make a motion they be approved as submitted.
Got a motion from Farner,
Second.
second from Klesson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meeting minutes are approved. Sir, we do appreciate everything you do in putting those meeting minutes together for us, by
Thank
the
you.
way. You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Next up, we have our public input session. This is an opportunity for anybody in the public to address the commission for any published or unpublished item. This will be the only opportunity for the public to address the planning commission tonight. And if you would like to, come up and state your name and address, and we will give you 5 minutes. Yes, sir.
John Flynn, 12 North Brent Lane in Bella Vista. I wanted to address you about the case that's coming up over on 47 LaLannon. I understand there's some problems with that building. And what concerns me is that the builder was building for themselves as opposed to a professional builder. And my understanding is they put the slab in where it was supposed to be. Might have been some elevation considerations, but it was where it was supposed to be. And the part that gives me a little heartburn is the city building inspector came out and said, that's fine, you're good to go. So I think any reasonable person in their place would think they were good to go. I think we've cleaned up some of the problems we have on the building inspector's side now, but that causes me some concern. I just want to give my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the commission tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public input session. We have nothing under unfinished business, so we'll move right into new business. Waiver 2024-56951, a waiver request on retaining wall setbacks for a proposed retaining wall and existing cut at 47 Landon Lane. Planner Hyatt.
Thank you. This property is located in the eastern area of Bella Vista city limits and is located at Lot 9, Block 9 of the Harborough subdivision. Development Code Section 107-342E1 states a retaining wall shall be placed a minimum of 10 feet or 1.5 times the height of the wall, whichever is greater, away from existing or proposed structures. And then Section 107-342E2 states that a retaining wall shall be placed a minimum of 7.5 feet or 1.5 times the height of the wall, whichever is greater, away from the property lines. The applicant is requesting to waive both 107-342E1 and E2 setback requirements to place a retaining wall along the northern and eastern property lines. The applicant did make a substantial cut along the north and east property lines when constructing the home. which now requires stabilization via a retaining wall. The cut on the north property line extends approximately 32 feet, and the cut on the east property line extends approximately 83 feet. The height of the cut extends up to roughly 5.5 feet at its highest point. And the as-built attached in your packet shows that at its closest point, a proposed wall would sit just under 9 feet from the structure and roughly just over 1 foot from the property line at its closest point. The proposed length for a retaining wall would be approximately 11 feet on the north and approximately 60 feet along the eastern property line. The north side, or to the north of this lot, is Lot 10, where the neighbor's septic field sits, and the east side is common property. The applicant is also in discussions with the developer to gain their approval as well. No public comment has been received at this time, and no outstanding technical review comments.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that this building permit might have gone in before we had a requirement for a grading plan with the building permit application. Is that correct?
I don't believe so.
No, we were reviewing grading plan at that time. But I believe it predated the driveway grade requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? So do we know if if they've worked things out with the POA and the developer yet or not?
They have received approval from the ACC, but in that email, they stated that that was one of 3 approvals, us being the second, and then the developer themselves being the third.
Okay, so they don't have to go to the POA since it's common property?
I believe that was part of the discussions with, in that process, they received the okay from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the developer would not be giving approval until the city gave approval.
So they're kind of in a catch-22 situation, but the ACC and the POA have signed off, just not the developer.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? If not, would the applicant please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, and we'll let you expound upon the staff report.
My name is Deborah Pinkston. The address in question is 47 Lannon Drive. Do you need my residential address?
Yes, ma'am.
7 Brixton Lane in Bella Vista. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to come and speak to you today and for considering our request. This project it started out as a labor of love. My husband wanted to build us a retirement home with wider hallways and areas around the kitchen island so that as we get older, he's already older, but in the event of needing wheelchairs and walkers, it would be very accessible for us. My mistake was I didn't understand that the size of the lot and the shape of the lot was going to be a problem. And I take that on myself. I love the lot, I love the location, it sits up high, it overlooks, the trees that are over by Lake Brittany. But I had no idea of the challenges we were going to face. As we move forward, the project was approved, and the foundation was approved, and the slab, and all along the way as we had inspections, they were approved and we were given the go-ahead. The reason for the cut in the land behind the house is because we wanted to make sure that our driveway was not like this, thinking of our old age and also thinking of the current regulations at the time. So we had to lower the level of the house down, and then later found out we needed to build this wall. The reason we're asking for a waiver is because between the house and the property line are 10 feet. And as you remember last time I spoke, we put the house where it is because we needed a leach field in the front yard. And it was, again, due to the shape of the lot. And so we are asking that we be allowed to put that wall as close to the property line as possible for several reasons, but the main one is for safety, thinking in the event of a fire at the front of the house, and we have to get out through that kitchen door and get to the street or get out. That area will have the gas bottles for the fireplace. It has air conditioning units and a few other things. And so if we are required to put the wall close to the house, it's going to be challenging to get out in the event of a fire with our, on high alert and in the dark perhaps, and as well as for fire equipment, the fire department to get in and have access back there. So that is why we are requesting this waiver, that we be allowed to put that wall as close to the property line as possible. And you are correct, the developer wants to hear from the city and get a full report, a finished plan or project, I think they call it, and then they will move forward with looking at utilities and so forth. We've already had 811 out there to check for utilities, and we've already forwarded that to the city and to the developer. So there's nothing back there. It's just, the air conditioning unit that you see there, and eventually there will be gas bottles and a few other things. So thank you.
Any questions for the applicant at this time? I think go ahead, yes.
Staff just wants to clarify with a question on the record and for the planning commissioners tonight. We had a last-minute resubmission with this plot plan. That is why the planning commissioners have two plot plans before them tonight. There's one that shows an 11-foot wall on the north and 60 foot on the east side. You also have one that's on the screen right now, which is 32 feet in length on the north side and 83 on the east side. I just want to make sure that the applicant understands the wall that you're requesting the waiver for tonight would be for the closest point, which is the longer version. I believe there was some confusion. I just wanted to make sure that clear on the record so the planning commission knows what they're approving. Which plot plan are you guys submitting to the planning commission formally for review?
We are submitting the shorter wall because we're already way over budget, and we are required to build a wall anything 4 feet and over. So where that slope comes down lower than 4 feet, we plan on doing landscaping there, maybe feathering out that cut and planting native plants there, soil erosion plants and maybe some soil erosion mesh, but making that part of the landscape. This part that you're seeing is where the wall will be. But when you look from the north to the south, that one, down there at the end is where we plan on doing landscaping.
Well, it seems to me that we're talking about a second waiver, because if that slope's going to be greater than 3 to 1, then we need a second variance. So either you got to put the wall in, or you need to come back and see us again.
So it was my understanding that it was anything over 4 feet.
It's not about that. If you don't put in a wall, the slope of the maximum slope can be 3 to 1. And since it's 4 feet tall, that's 12 feet. You don't have 12 feet.
And we
Okay.
permit walls 2.5 feet or taller. 4 foot is when the engineer is required.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, we can definitely do the wall. I mean, we're way over budget anyway, so we'll just go with it. Whatever we have to do, we'll comply with whatever you recommend that we do.
So for the record, is the request a waiver for the 32-foot wall and 83-foot wall? That means no landscaping and
Could you
slope
speak to
feathering.
that? He's been corresponding with us.
So yeah, she's asking, between the two plans, the one that was taken to the working session, so would you be going with that design or the design that we got Thursday?
That would require further review and possibly further
Yeah,
approvals.
we'd have to put this on hold until the next meeting if they're going to go with the short walls, because they can't meet the grading requirements.
Well, we can go with the other one if it's one that you would, okay.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't personally, I'm fine with the wall. We need to say you know, what's that waiver of the setback gonna be? Is it gonna be 2 feet? Is it gonna be 3 feet? I don't think we can just say you can get as close to the property line as you want to get. There has to be
Right.
something reasonable. To meet minimum egress requirements, you need 3 feet away from the house to meet code. That's all you need. I understand you've got the air conditioning units and some propane bottles. So if you add a couple feet for that, all you really need is 5 feet from your house for that wall.
And our development code has a 10-foot setback between freestanding walls and structures.
Oh,
So they would need a waiver if we moved it close. It needs a waiver regardless
yeah,
if it
it's
were to be a
just,
wall.
I think we're gonna waive the requirements for this wall regardless of what it is, because it's closer than the 10 feet even as proposed.
The setback waiver that we are considering per the original plan is 1 foot and an inch or so on the north side, and on the east side, 1 foot and 3 inches on the east side. So we
Yes.
do have those dimensions with their original plan that we took to working session.
Yeah, and also looking at it though, the wall is closer than 10 feet to the primary structure as well. So would we not consider that as part of this request tonight also? Because that's been on the plat as they've shown it.
So 8 feet and 10 at the closest point on the south side, on the east
Yes.
wall.
So I feel like we're addressing the location of the wall, whatever it may be, whether it's 5 feet from the house and 4 feet from the property line or whatever. I think we can just say, this is what it's gotta be, and then kind of just move forward.
You can put any requirements that you want on a waiver.
And I think that would address both of those, don't you think, Taylor?
Planning Commission votes that way.
Okay.
Would you consider 8 feet from the house?
Me personally, no. I think there needs to be some I understand the hardship, I understand the concern, but like you said, your reason is for safe egress. So that's how I'm looking at it, not for a yard for your dog or for whatever else. It's just, what is a safe egress? And, you know, we can't just give you the maximum just because you want it. Our code is very specific on that, but at the same time, I also think, based off of the testimony we heard earlier, we can't just say no to you, because that kind of renders your house useless.
So I'm confused. What are we voting on?
We don't have a motion on the floor, we're just having a conversation. I spoke.
I know.
There's 6 other members that need to speak up. We've talked about this, it's been here before.
Is it my understanding that you're requesting to have that wall 8 feet from your side of your house and back, which puts it almost on the property line?
Well, the property line is 10 feet from the house. We couldn't put the house any closer than 10 feet.
Well, I understand that, but
Yeah.
the wall that you're asking to put in there is 8 feet from the house, is
Yes.
that right? Okay, that's what I understood in the
Yeah,
wall.
that's basically the request, is to put the wall within 8 feet from the house.
And to me, that seems reasonable considering the situation, that the house got approved, the foundation, all that got approved, and there is no other solution.
I mean, that's why I said, it doesn't have to be 8 feet, it could be something less and still meet the hardship.
Well, to me, if you're gonna put a wall in, you might as well put it as far back as can be done so that there's ingress and egress in there. And if you put it 3 feet from the house, that's getting kind of tight in there. If the room is there to put it at 8 feet, that's what I would think would be reasonable,
Okay.
so.
Other commissioners? Yes, sir.
I mean, what was the original request? Did it say anything about being less than 10 feet from the structure?
I'm sorry?
On the original request for waiver, did it mention the wall would be less than 10 feet away from the house?
Yeah, so the original as-built we got, it measures 8 feet, 10
Okay.
inches, yeah.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it being 8 feet, less than 9 feet away. I mean, my main concern with retaining walls is which way they fail. And this one's gonna fail onto their own property, so let's my concern is it falling on someone else's property and then that property owner is also tangled up in it, so.
That makes some sense. Well, are you ready for a motion?
Yeah, I think if I got this correctly, I'm gonna try to craft this, and you all can correct me if we need to. We're looking for a motion to approve locating this wall 8 feet from the primary structure, with the condition of a temporary grading easement or grading permission from the adjoining properties, because you're gonna need that in order to get your wall built. If I've got that right. Does that sound right? Yes,
Just real quick, just for the record, I mean, if the waiver that we have it defined right now per the request is a waiver of a property line setback and a structure setback, there's 2 waivers in this one request. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure.
yeah, that's why I'm clarifying that the wall shall be located 8 feet from the primary structure. That's what she's asked for.
And 1 foot from the property line.
I'm not gonna specify that specifically. It is what it is.
As long as it's 8 feet away from the house.
Yeah, as long as it's no more than 8 feet away from the house.
So okay, so the recommendation is to approve with a condition that that's the closest point to the structure is 8 feet.
That the wall is located 8 feet from the house. The
Or
whole
greater.
wall parallel to the structure, that's the point that everybody can easily measure and look at. And that's what they're asking for, 8 feet. So they'll have an 8-foot space along the back and the side of the house.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that both are approved, so that way, if that's the recommendation, the waiver of both provisions is what's being
Yes.
considered. Okay,
We don't need
I
to break it
I
in 2
think the
parts.
other is the default. It is what it is from the property
Yeah.
line as long as it's 8
Yes.
feet from the structure.
Therefore, that amount,
Exactly. But,
that's not 8 feet from the house.
yeah, the staff can easily go out there and put a tape measure and say, yes, it's 8 feet from the
Yeah,
house,
here's where
but
it
no
has to
more,
be.
but no more.
for sure. Thanks.
Okay.
Yep,
So the motion is to place the retaining wall 8 feet from the house, but no more, conditioned upon getting approval to do excavation on the adjoining properties. Because you will
Who
need
is that approval from?
the adjoining property owners. I think it's the POA, and you own the lot to the north, so you'll be okay on that one, maybe? I don't know.
I think Brian Busby.
Brian
is your-
Busby does.
Already done.
Yeah,
He's good.
yeah, so like I said, you're gonna have to get permission to put the geogrid in, so,
From the POA?
from the POA and from your neighbor to the north.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, an 8-foot tall wall, you gotta dig 8 feet behind the wall. That's why I'm saying no more than 8 feet from the house. And our city engineer's sitting there shaking his head, yes, that's correct.
The wall will be 5.5 at the tallest point in the corner.
He's calling for the grid to go back in 6 feet, so you'll still have to dig onto your adjoining property owners.
About 4 feet.
Yep. Anyways, last motion is to situate the wall no more than 8 feet from your house, get permission from your property owners, and provide that permission to the city staff before you start construction on the wall. Can I get a motion
So
on that?
moved.
Motion from Farner,
Second.
second from Portillo. Call the roll, please.
Duel? Yes. Lloyd?
Yes.
Plesson?
Yes.
Sedbury?
Yes.
Farner?
Yes.
Portillo?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes, your wall is approved. You'll get with staff, specifically our city engineer, and they will help you out with the next steps.
Thank you so much.
You bet, thank you. All right, with that, that ends our new business. Do we have anything from committee reports?
Nothing for committee reports.
How about open discussion?
I do have a reminder for those that couldn't be at our work session. Our upcoming cycle is fairly busy, a little bit busier than normal with current planning as well as it's our annual administrative meeting. So we also have election of officers and training and whatnot that we normally do at our March meeting. With that said, February 27th at the work session, just be prepared to be here a little bit longer than usual with all of those items taking place. And then my second question that kind of piggybacks off that, regional planning will be here to do a elected and appointed official training for the city council in March 3rd at 3 p.m. across the hallway. And I didn't know if you all would be interested in attending that in place of me giving you guys your work session training. If not, I can do both. It's total, I just wanted to
I
kind
would,
of
I
discuss
would
that.
like to keep with our published meeting schedule.
With the work session?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, for those of those that do want to attend, you guys are invited to pop over there as well. I just need to know, so please RSVP if you're interested in hearing what they're being trained on. I believe Jason will give a spiel of both as well anyway, so you'll get your legal, your legal.
So our work session's gonna be the 27th?
Our work session is gonna be the 27th.
Okay.
And it will be longer than normal.
That's right.
So don't come in here thinking it's gonna be a 5 or 10 minute deal. This one's always the long one. So, what's our update on our code?
It is currently wrapping up the technical review. Chapter 107 is with all staff. 109 is reviewed a second time, and then we're hoping to start getting some dates on the calendar for public input next month.
So you're thinking we're gonna start public input sessions in March?
Input, yeah, not public hearing.
I know.
Public input, yeah.
Public input, yeah.
That's the goal.
And when are we planning on doing public hearings, you think?
Probably looking at April.
Okay. That's not that far away.
No, I know, with this, like, I can't believe it's already February, so, yeah, it's pretty quick. Hoping for April.
Halfway through February. Valentine's Day's on Friday, if you guys have forgotten to order your flowers, just in case y'all didn't remember. So anyways, is that it for the open discussion?
That's all I have for staff, and then just a reminder that it is on the 27th, is the school's last meeting, so we will have, and all those busy items, a little bit
Yes.
later as well.
How is the interview process going to fill that seat?
The mayor has made an appointment, and that is going for council via resolution this month.
Oh, okay. When will we share that appointment?
I can share it with you right now, if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
It's not been approved by council, but the appointment was Jack Wagner.
Okay.
He has a lot of multifamily real estate, development, background, and is, basically, that's pretty much what makes him, and is where he, most of his experience is in. He's got a lot of the National Building Association, experience as well, so primarily residential developments where his, expertise lies, maybe. But yeah, his appointment will be up for approval this month.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners? All right, the city council work session will be Tuesday, February 18th at 5:30 PM. Their regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 24th at 6 PM. We'll have a work session on Thursday, February 27th at 4:30 PM with our Board of Zoning Adjustment and Planning Commission meeting on March 10th at 4:30 PM. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.
All right.